Have you ever found yourself going out of your way to help someone, only to be met with apathy or even dismissiveness? Perhaps you held the door for a stranger, and they walked through without a glance. Or maybe you supported a coworker during a tough project, but instead of gratitude, you were met with cold indifference. These moments can be disheartening, making you question whether your kindness is truly valued or simply overlooked. But before you second-guess your good nature, it's worth reflecting on the dynamics of kindness itself. It's not always about how much we give, but rather about how we give it, when, and to whom. Ancient Stoic wisdom reminds us that kindness, when rooted in strength and self-awareness, is a mark of character. Yet kindness without boundaries can lead to misunderstanding or even exploitation. This video isn't about discouraging compassion, but about empowering it. We'll explore how to give in ways that align with your values, ensuring that kindness becomes a conscious, intentional act, one that invites respect rather than disregard. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, we'll uncover how to balance generosity with self-respect. You'll learn when to extend help, when to hold back, and how to cultivate a kindness that reinforces your inner strength. Stay with me, because each insight shared here is designed to help you rethink your approach to kindness, transforming it from a habit that risks being taken for granted into a virtue that commands respect and admiration. Number 1. The fine line between kindness and pleasing. Everyone consider the story of Ethan, a dedicated husband and father who pours his heart into supporting his family. He works overtime to provide, spends his evenings tackling household repairs, and devotes his weekends to helping his children pursue their hobbies. Initially, his unwavering efforts were met with gratitude. Yet over time, his dedication morphed into an expectation. When Ethan finally declined a request out of sheer fatigue, his family responded with confusion and complaints, as if his willingness to help had become an obligation rather than a choice. This was a pivotal realization for Ethan. His limitless generosity had unintentionally nurtured entitlement, not respect. Such situations are common and resonate deeply. When kindness is extended without boundaries, it can easily be misinterpreted as duty rather than a meaningful gesture. From the lens of Stoic philosophy, kindness is most valuable when it is intentional and grounded in self-awareness. True kindness doesn't stem from fear of rejection, but from an alignment with one's principles and values. The Stoics remind us that virtue lies not in endless sacrifice, but in measured and purposeful action. Without discernment, kindness risks becoming a source of resentment rather than genuine goodwill. Take Olivia, a dedicated healthcare professional who consistently goes the extra mile for her patients and colleagues. Her unwavering commitment was initially celebrated, but over time, her constant availability turned into an unspoken expectation. One day, Olivia chose to step back and focus on her personal well-being. Rather than understanding, she was met with disappointment and criticism. It was in this moment she recognized that her unconditional kindness had been mistaken for obligation, fostering dependency rather than respect. Stoic philosophy teaches that meaningful kindness requires clarity and boundaries. Setting healthy limits does not dilute kindness, but enriches it. It transforms generosity into a conscious and empowering choice. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, but about defining the space where respect and genuine goodwill can thrive. They safeguard acts of kindness from being misconstrued or exploited. The next time you face a request, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, is this act aligned with my values? Am I offering this out of authentic goodwill or from fear of being judged. These moments of introspection allow you to cultivate kindness that is both intentional and sincere. Boundaries are the framework for mutual respect. They ensure that kindness remains a conscious, valued act rather than a silent expectation. Practicing mindful kindness elevates it into a powerful virtue, one that commands respect and nurtures healthier relationships. Through intentional choices, you not only protect your well-being, but also preserve the sincerity of your goodwill, ensuring your kindness remains a reflection of true strength and character. Number 2, why your kindness works against you. Imagine the daily life of Nathan, a man known for his generous heart and readiness to help others. Whether it's assisting a friend who locked themselves out of their home or helping a neighbor fix a broken fence, Nathan always puts aside his personal priorities to lend a hand. At first, his acts of kindness were met with warmth and gratitude. But over time, these gestures shifted from being appreciated to simply expected. When Nathan eventually declined a request, citing his own responsibilities, the response was not understanding, but disappointment. It was a harsh realization. His consistent generosity had become a silent obligation, fostering expectations rather than gratitude. This experience isn't unique to Nathan. Many people have found themselves caught in the trap of giving without boundaries, only to feel taken for granted. According to Stoic philosophy, kindness is not about endless sacrifice. It's about conscious and thoughtful giving, grounded in personal values and self-awareness. The philosopher Epictetus once stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This applies to kindness as well. When given out of fear of rejection or a desire to be liked, kindness becomes less about generosity and more about seeking approval. But when kindness stems from personal conviction and clarity, it transforms into genuine strength. Consider the case of Julia, a talented project manager who often takes on extra tasks to support her team. Initially, her dedication earns her admiration. But as the weeks turn into months, her contributions become assumed rather than acknowledged. When Julia eventually decides to focus on her health and turns down additional responsibilities, the reactions are less than supportive. She realizes that kindness, when offered without limits, can create a cycle of expectation that leaves little room for appreciation. Stoicism teaches that true kindness is most impactful when it is measured and intentional. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but one of self-respect. Boundaries ensure that kindness remains authentic, protecting it from being exploited or misunderstood. They provide space for healthy, respectful interactions where generosity is valued rather than assumed. Establishing clear limits empowers individuals to give without compromising their own well-being, allowing acts of kindness to retain their original spirit and significance. Before agreeing to a request, it's essential to pause and reflect. Is this action consistent with my personal values? Am I offering this help freely, or am I driven by a desire to avoid criticism? These moments of introspection guide us to offer kindness that is genuine and thoughtful rather than reactive or obligatory. It transforms kindness from an automatic response into a meaningful choice. Boundaries do not close us off from connection. They strengthen it by ensuring that our acts of goodwill remain true and respected. They foster relationships built on mutual understanding and appreciation. By defining where our kindness begins and ends, we safeguard it from exploitation, ensuring that it continues to be a sincere and valuable offering. Intentional kindness, framed by awareness and healthy limits, enriches both the giver and receiver. It becomes a lasting strength, one that upholds dignity and earns genuine respect. When kindness is an expression of authentic care, rather than a response to pressure or fear, it retains its power to uplift and inspire. By choosing to give with mindfulness, we preserve the value of our generosity and ensure that it remains a force for good in our lives and the lives of others. Number 3. People see you as emotionally dependent. True kindness is a mark of strength and character, but when it arises from emotional insecurity, it can invite disrespect. People naturally respect those who give from a place of confidence and inner fulfillment, not those seeking validation through their generosity. When kindness becomes a tool to gain approval, it risks losing its genuine value. Kindness rooted in fear of rejection or the need for acceptance often turns into a silent bargain, one that can leave the giver vulnerable. Stoic philosophy teaches that inner peace comes from mastering desires and detaching self-worth from the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle underscores that genuine kindness should flow from conviction, not from the desire for recognition. Take the story of Daniel, a dedicated team member known for helping colleagues with their tasks. He worked late, picked up slack, and often resolved others' mistakes. Initially, his efforts were acknowledged, but over time, they became expected. One day, after being asked yet again to finish a colleague's project without any appreciation, Daniel realized his generosity was being exploited. Determined to change, he set clear boundaries, focused on his own responsibilities, and made sure his efforts were recognized. Some disliked his new stance, but those who valued his contribution adapted. Daniel didn't abandon kindness. He redefined it as a conscious choice, not an obligation. This leads to an important reflection. Is your kindness genuine, or is it a response to a need for approval? Do people truly appreciate your generosity, or have they come to expect it? The Stoics encourage careful evaluation of who we trust and how we express our kindness. Epictetus reminds us, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Setting boundaries may risk misunderstanding, but it preserves integrity. People respect those who maintain their standards, who can walk away when respect is absent. Human nature values what is self-sufficient and rare. When kindness is excessive and approval-seeking, it can signal dependency, reducing the perceived value of your generosity. Over time, this imbalance encourages others to take you for granted. Stoic teachings highlight the importance of self-reliance. Genuine kindness remains steady, even when it goes unnoticed, while strategic kindness, aimed at winning favor, often falters. Consider whether you've ever truly admired someone who compromises their dignity for approval. Authentic respect goes to those who hold firm to their principles, demonstrating kindness without surrendering to exploitation. Seneca aptly said, "He who is brave is free." Courage is about asserting your value, about being kind without allowing it to be misused. In the end, kindness carries the most weight when paired with strength and discernment. It's not about pleasing everyone, but about acting with honesty and confidence. Set boundaries, offer kindness with clarity, and ensure that your generosity reflects inner strength, not fear. This approach preserves the essence of kindness as an empowering force, one that earns respect and safeguards true freedom. Number 4. It makes you a target for manipulators. Kindness is a valuable trait, but in a world where not everyone acts with integrity, it can expose you to those looking to take advantage. Manipulators, whether they are demanding bosses, self-centered friends, or controlling partners, are drawn to those who are eager to please. People who always say yes, prioritize others over themselves, and avoid confrontation are often the easiest to exploit. While it's comforting to believe that kindness naturally earns respect, to some, it signals vulnerability. They interpret it as an open door to overstep boundaries, take without giving, and manipulate for their own gain. However, genuine strength lies in discerning when to give and when to hold back. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This doesn't suggest becoming harsh or unkind, but emphasizes the importance of discernment. True kindness requires clarity, and being compassionate does not mean allowing exploitation. Consider the experience of Alex, a dedicated team member who always stepped up to assist his colleagues. He often worked overtime to cover for others, fixed mistakes, and ensured projects were completed. Initially, his efforts were appreciated, but soon they became expected. His workload doubled as others leaned on his willingness, and his contributions went unrecognized. The realization struck when his boss once again asked him to stay late to complete someone else's task, without even a word of thanks. Alex realized his kindness was not respected, but taken for granted. He decided to set clear boundaries. He focused on his responsibilities, declined unreasonable requests, and ensured his work was acknowledged. Although some resisted the change, those who genuinely valued him adapted. Alex didn't stop being kind, but he chose not to be an easy target. This raises a crucial question. Is your kindness genuine, or is it being exploited? Do those around you appreciate your generosity, or have they come to expect it? Stoic philosophy encourages careful reflection about whom we trust and how we give. Epictetus wisely noted, "Associate with those who encourage your best qualities." Authentic kindness isn't about appeasing everyone. It's about acting with integrity and self-awareness. When you combine kindness with strength, you build respect and protect yourself from being manipulated. The core lesson is this: give generously, but thoughtfully. Once your kindness is misused, it ceases to be kindness and becomes self-sacrifice at your expense. Intentional kindness, grounded in clear boundaries, enriches relationships and fosters mutual respect. It becomes a strength that uplifts both giver and receiver. When you choose to give from a place of true care, rather than fear or pressure, you ensure that your kindness remains a genuine force for good, for yourself, and for those around you. Number 5, it creates an imbalance in relationships. Kindness is a valuable quality, but when extended without boundaries, it can disrupt the balance in relationships. Often, people recognize this imbalance only after feeling emotionally drained, overlooked, or even exploited. Modern interpretations of Stoic philosophy emphasize the importance of thoughtful generosity, giving freely, but ensuring that kindness does not morph into obligation. Seneca once observed, "He who gives when he is asked has waited too long," reminding us that unchecked generosity can foster dependency and a sense of entitlement instead of mutual respect. When you continually make sacrifices, offer assistance, or adjust to accommodate others, you risk setting an unsustainable precedent. What begins as an act of genuine care can gradually turn into an unspoken expectation. As time passes, your acts of kindness may be seen less as gracious offerings and more as obligatory gestures. This can result in relationships where one person silently bears the emotional burden while the other takes without feeling any obligation to reciprocate. This dynamic can unfold in various aspects of life. In professional environments, an employee who consistently accepts additional work may find themselves overloaded, yet underappreciated. Among friends, the one who always listens and provides emotional support may find themselves isolated when facing their own struggles. In relationships, the partner who repeatedly compromises to maintain harmony may one day realize that their needs have been sidelined. Yet, kindness does not equate to weakness. According to Stoic principles, true respect is cultivated through discernment and strength. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This doesn't suggest being rigid or distant, but rather emphasizes the importance of setting healthy boundaries. Without this discernment, kindness can become a burden that diminishes the giver while enabling dependence in others. Authentic relationships are grounded in mutual respect, not in quiet self-sacrifice. Demonstrating self-respect is one of the most effective ways to earn the respect of others. If you undervalue your own time, energy, and efforts, others are likely to follow suit. Consistently saying yes to every request can unintentionally communicate that your time and contributions hold little value. Over time, this dynamic risks rendering your kindness invisible or even expected. Strength is often found in the ability to say no, to risk disappointing others, and to stand firm in your convictions. This doesn't mean abandoning compassion, but recognizing that genuine respect is born from mutual recognition of worth. The individuals who command true respect are not those who always comply, but those who thoughtfully choose when to give and when to hold back. Their kindness is purposeful, rooted in a sense of self-worth and clarity. The Stoic approach to virtue emphasizes balance. Excessive self-sacrifice erodes personal stability, while excessive self-interest can distance you from meaningful connections. The key lies in practicing kindness with intention, offering support where it is meaningful and appreciated, but not at the cost of your own well-being. True generosity is not about endless giving, but about wise giving, ensuring that kindness is valued and that personal dignity is preserved. Ultimately, genuine kindness is about giving with awareness and strength. It involves supporting others while maintaining personal boundaries, offering compassion without compromising self-respect. This approach ensures that kindness remains a source of empowerment and integrity, fostering relationships rooted in mutual respect. Through intentional giving, kindness transforms from a passive habit into a conscious and powerful expression of character and resilience. Number 6. When we fail to set boundaries. When kindness is offered without thoughtful boundaries, it can unintentionally disrupt relationships and leave one feeling exhausted and unappreciated. Often, this imbalance goes unnoticed until emotions like frustration or resentment arise. Ancient Stoic philosophy offers guidance, encouraging rational thought and mindful self-awareness to navigate these situations. Imagine your personal energy as a well. Every act of generosity draws from this source. If you continue giving without time to replenish, the well eventually runs dry. Boundaries serve as the mechanism to preserve this resource through intentional rest, saying no when needed, and engaging only in commitments that reflect your core values. The journey towards setting healthy boundaries can begin with small, intentional actions that feel more like personal commitments than confrontations. For instance, choosing to step away from digital distractions, like emails, after a certain hour can create space for reflection and rest. Communicating this decision with clarity reinforces the boundary. A simple statement like, "To prioritize my focus and well-being, I disconnect from emails after 8 p.m. and will respond during my work hours," not only sets clear expectations, but also encourages respect for personal space. It is through such mindful steps that boundaries become habits, reinforcing routines that sustain well-being. In personal relationships, boundaries are equally crucial. Stoicism teaches that true calmness comes from focusing on one's own behavior, rather than being unsettled by external influences. Setting boundaries is an intentional act of choosing how to respond and protecting inner peace. For example, when faced with excessive demands, a composed response might be, "I recognize your needs, but I can only help within certain limits." Let's find a solution that works for us both. Such conversations affirm personal limits while preserving mutual respect. In the professional world, establishing boundaries can foster healthier work dynamics and prevent emotional exhaustion. Clearly, defining working hours or the scope of responsibilities sends a message of self-respect, which often invites others to mirror that attitude. Setting boundaries is not a one-time act, but a continuous process of self-assessment. Needs evolve, and so must the boundaries we set to protect our energy. Like the Stoics, who practiced regular self-reflection to align their actions with virtue, we too can refine our boundaries to enhance self-awareness and nurture healthier connections. Ultimately, boundaries are not walls that isolate, but bridges that maintain balance in relationships. They allow us to give from a place of strength rather than sacrifice, ensuring that generosity remains empowering rather than draining. Through consistent practice, boundary setting transforms kindness into a sustainable force, one that nurtures personal well-being and cultivates deeper, more meaningful connections with others. By aligning boundaries with our values, we foster relationships grounded in mutual respect and authentic care. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please subscribe to our channel for more content on personal growth and Stoic wisdom. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, stay strong and stay mindful.